High School Academic Awards presentation program. We're extremely excited to have you here. This year's theme has been Shining Above the Rest. Before we get started with the actual naming of the honorees and having them come up here, I just wanted to take a moment to once again recognize our distinguished School Board of Trustees, Mr. Tim Yoder, President, Mrs. Cammie Waite, Vice President, Mrs. Jennifer Davis, Secretary, Mr. Randy Myers, Assistant Secretary, and Mrs. Kathy Thomas, Member. We're so grateful to them, their support, and them helping provide us with all the tools and all the things necessary for us to perform our jobs on a daily basis. I also want to recognize our Superintendent, Mr. John Trout, who's standing up behind, and Assistant Superintendent Mr. Tim Tahara. I believe he's at a conference this week, so he is not here with us. And then Mrs. Renee Kokenauer. She is not just the Director of Curriculum, but she is also the Director of Secondary Education. And so she plays a vital role to all the things that are happening here, especially academically on the high school campus. And we want to thank them for their support. I would also be remiss if we didn't take time to recognize all of the educators, paraprofessionals, and the support staff at Concord High School, as well as all of the other schools here in our district, from our elementaries to our intermediate school to our junior high school. It takes a village to help these students rise to this occasion academically, to be able to succeed and have the successes that they have. And so we want to recognize these educators. If you are an educator, paraprofessional, or one of our staff in any one of our buildings here in this district, would you please stand and be recognized? And of course, we don't want to forget you parents. We want to thank you for entrusting your sons and daughters with us. It's an honor, and definitely the old cliche of the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, especially with this group of young individuals here. It fell very close, and the roots are deep. And we thank you for that, and thank you for entrusting them to us to do our very best. Just a couple of things that I've been thinking about. So the students that we're going to recognize tonight, we know that the cutoff is to have a cumulative GPA of 3.67 or higher. And one of the things that most of you don't know, the senior parents know from earlier this evening, but this is the largest group of students ever at Concord High School to attain this achievement academically. I think there's 342 total, and it's about 20% higher than last year, and it's about 40% higher than it was 10 years ago. And the thing that's unique about this is that we now have, each year, we're growing in our dual credit offerings. That means that they can earn high school and college credit. We're growing in our advanced placement, which are those AP courses. We're growing in our early college programs. So in other words, the GPAs, more kids with the GPAs are increasing, but it's with more rigor to have to get there. More of a challenge academically than in years past. And so some great things are happening all the way around, and it's very exciting. Out of curiosity, just kind of a little simple poll. So, student honorees, if you participate in extracurricular or co-curricular activities, and so extracurricular, they know what it means, but so that the parents know, extracurricular could mean athletics, it could mean our clubs, speech, drama, Potter's Marathon, student council, on and on and on, SAD, all the different Key Club, NHS, all of those different clubs. And then, of course, our co-curricular would be like our color guard, because they have a class in school and then they perform outside. Our orchestra, our choir folks and all of our different types of bands, you know, from the marching band all the way to our symphonic and concert and jazz bands. Students, so those students that are going to be honored tonight, by the raise of hands, how many of you also, you know, participate in at least one of those areas? Please raise your hand. Pretty amazing, isn't it? So not only has the rigor and the challenge increased, but these students are putting in hours and hours of time outside, above, and beyond the classroom to accomplish the things that they do. In my book, and they know what this means, some of you will not, they've definitely truly shown us what it means to rise up and be 212. So thank you, students. Without any further ado, let's get this thing on the road, and we're going to start with our freshmen. And I think we have most of you seated over there if you follow directions. So we're going to line up our A through M's up the staircase, and the N to Z's, if you'll go outside and line up in alphabetical order and start preparing to do that. Our freshman students and freshman parents, especially if this is your first student in the high school level. So they've not only attained a 3.67 GPA, but tonight what they'll do is they will receive an academic letter. They'll receive a chevron and information on how they can purchase a letter jacket if they so wish, and they'll receive a certificate. Our board members will be presenting tonight. The two that will be presenting to our freshmen are Kathy Thomasby and Randy Myers. And so as soon as these guys can line up alphabetically. Mrs. Bone is our secretary. She's helped organize this, and she helped us to help speed up this process. If there's too many of you through the M's just back up through the doorway to make some room. And if you feel like you're pretty close and you don't need to go out, you can, if you're a Z, you can come out this way and go up through the other doors. Okay, and front students, pay attention here for a second. Over here, freshmen. So when you come across, I'm going to call your name. So just hold on. I'm going to call your name. It's their first time. We need to give them a break. When we call their name, they're going to come across. They're going to receive their certificate and their chevron. And then I want you, listen up please, all you freshmen. You're going to go all the way across to the steps on the far side. You're going to stay up above the steps, and you're going to line up, and you're going to stagger. So one person's going to be kind of in front, and the other one kind of half their shoulder behind. The next one half their shoulder in front, because otherwise we're not going to get all of you across this stage. So kind of stagger so you kind of half overlap, but so your mom and dad can get that Kodak moment picture. Okay? All right, freshmen, if you'll quiet down, and we'll get you rolling here. And I want to apologize up front. I've tried to practice all these names and find people that know all these, but if I can get through 342 names and only mess up 2 or 3, I think I'm doing pretty good. So hopefully that's about all that will happen tonight. So starting off, number 1, Janae Acosta. And thank you. We want you to hold your applause until everyone's finished. Thank you for already knowing that. Next, Jimmy Adame. Did I get that right? Did I get it right? Next, Mercy Alvarez. Next, Ramiro Barron Vera. Gilbert Becerra. Andrew Bondurant. Michaela Borsch. Riley Brenneman. Cameron Boydus. Brandon Cabrera. Caden Kane. Esmeralda Campos. Tessie Campos. Vladimir Carmona. Vanessa Celis. Maya Chanley. Autumn Charles. Alexandria Conant. Ashley Contreras. Cassandra Kramer. Caitlin Creek. Kendall Crouch. Sydney Culp. Diana Cunningham. McKenna DeFries. Melissa Delgado Vasquez. Rachel Ducharme. Carson Elonic. Samira Ferrando. Peyton Fish. Itzel Flores Uribe. Amber Fox. Olivia Frito. Cameron Galvin. Marielis Garay. Rose George. Emma Gingrich. Katie Gutierrez. Karen Hernandez. Paulina Herrera. Cole Hirschberger. Christian Heyer. Ariana Howe. Hannah Imus. Yoselin Isaula. Brendan Johnson. Ethan Johnson. Madison Jones. Preston Canapple. Aaron Kennedy. Logan Kidder. Lindsay Kish. Lauren Kahn. Katharina Craybill. Savannah Lane. Carla Losa. Arlette Luevano. Liam Martin. Abigail Martinez. Ariana Martinez. Eileen Martinez. Jesus Martinez. Alyssa McClendon. Kaylin McConnell. John McEachran. Odette Medina. Clarita Mendoza. Colin Miller. Natalie Moore. Gabriela Moran Ariola. Ethan Moya. Aaron Murillo. Lara Navas Gonzalez. Allison Olmsted. Rose Pankoki. Alexander Perez Bermudez. Nathan Peterson. Brian Reyes. Jaden Riegsecker. Justina Riffle. Aiden Ross. Destiny Salvador. Bryson Schrock. Jaquise Shepard. Stephen Simons. Adriana Smith. Gavin Smith. Jocelyn Smith. Jessica Sotelo. Jeffrey Hondro Spradling. Caitlin Stoffer. Jacob Streeter. Tyler Stroop. Griffin Swartout. Kendall Swartout. Dalton Swinehart. Evelyn Tynert. Andrea Torres. Angel Truong. Michaela Valdez. Allison Veely. Jordan Wilson. Kira Wilson. Caleb Womack. Morgan Workman. Eric Yater. Rachel Yoder. Aaron Zhu. We'd already called these, but Gilbert Becerra and Gabriela Moran. And we'll find your certificates here and get them to you. Okay, the freshman class, 3.67 GPA. Fantastic job. Now here's the challenge, freshmen. 4 years from now, every one of you back up here. All 4 years, all right? So get it done. Okay, here we go. Thank you. You can be seated. Okay, next on the agenda here for this evening, thank you, board members. We're going to move to, we have some kind of interjecting awards in between each of the classes. So this next section is for what we call our most improved seniors over the 4 years. In other words, when they came in as freshmen, for whatever reason, their GPAs were lower, and they worked hard, teachers assisted them, their parents assisted them, they caught a vision, they dug deeper, and they moved themselves forward to a point that they have the most improved GPA from freshman year to senior year. It's quite an accomplishment, and we think that it's worthwhile to honor them and recognize them tonight. So I'm going to call the first 5 of them up here in just a second. They'll come up. We're just doing them in alphabetical order. Has nothing to do with their rank or their GPA. And they'll come and they'll take their seats here. And then as their name is called individually, then they will come and they're going to get the plaque for the teacher that they're going to honor. And then they will come to the microphone here, and they've been asked to present and recognize the teacher and explain why they chose this teacher as the most influential individual in their scholastic career. And just so you know, not all of these teachers are high school teachers. We have teachers from different levels that have been chosen and selected because for whatever reason at different times, these individuals have impacted these students' lives. And they're going to receive a plaque, and the plaque that they're going to receive is, it's going to give the name of the student, proudly recognized. It'll give the name of the teacher for being a significant influence in his or her educational experience. These plaques have been generously donated by First Place Trophy, and we are extremely grateful for their support. I'm going to have Cammie Waite come up here, and she's going to present these, but we need to come sit over here. Olivia Butler, Benjamin Housen, Christopher Ottman, Nathan Porter, who's not with us tonight, but we have a statement for him to read to his teacher, and Catherine Guerrero Reyes. If you'll come take your seats over here. Okay, so we're going to begin with Olivia Butler, and if you'll come.
I've struggled a lot through all of my high school years, but it mainly started in 8th grade. And my math teacher from 8th grade, Mr. Callan, was always there waiting with a smile on his face. And if I was ever having a rough time, he would personally take me out of the classroom and hug me and encourage me and tell me that it was going to be okay. And that has stuck with me through all these years. I'm still in contact with him, and he's really great.
Next up, Benjamin Housen.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to a few people, like my parents, multiple teachers, and Garrett Roberts and Sam Lauer for being my best friends and always being there for me. But most importantly, I'd like to say thank you to this man who has pretty much inspired me to be who I am now. Across the 4 years of high school, I've made plenty of mistakes, and he was the one who was always there, who helped me through them. He helped me learn from them, and he made me who I am now. And I don't think life without him would be the same, so I'd like to recognize my Concord High School swim coach, Tom Johnson.
And he was also Coach of the Year, so kind of an outstanding, he's a great individual, so. He and I even got to get wet together and jumped in the water there in the pool. Actually, 2 years in a row, so kind of fun. Next up, Christopher Ottman.
I just wanted to thank Mrs. Swartout for helping me throughout my high school years and just everything that I didn't get. She always tried to help me, even though if it took the whole class period, she helped me through it. And that's it.
I bet I know a picture that'll get posted on Facebook tonight. Nathan Porter is next, and he's not able to be here tonight, so Mrs. Burton is going to read the recognition for his teacher.
Thank you. Yeah, Nathan knew that he would not be able to be here tonight, so we were really happy that he prepared a statement. A little bit of a spoiler alert. It starts with Mr. Lurch. So there we go. Mr. Lurch, I appreciate all of the help throughout the year. If it wasn't for your help, I would still be trying to pass your class. So congratulations to Nathan, and congratulations to Mr. Lurch. Come on up.
He's a rare combination, like the pizzas he delivers at night sometimes. Dodgers, pizza, and math, all combined into one. That's a combination right there. Next up, Catherine Guerrero Reyes.
So I just want to take this time to thank someone who isn't thanked enough, who is underappreciated, and who does not understand the significant role she plays in her student's life. Mrs. Loy, for nearly 3 years, you've helped me become a better person. I was a struggling freshman, hanging with the wrong people, doing the wrong things, not caring for my grades or how my attitude would affect other people. I entered high school with the wrong priorities. If it wasn't for your daily dose of motivation and positive energy, I'd probably be down that same path. Not only are you my choir teacher, but you are someone who has helped me get through some of the toughest moments in my life. And most importantly, you helped me put my life together. So thank you for reminding me what's really important in life.
Thanks to these first five, and if you can go back and be seated, do not take off because we're going to do pictures after, okay? So if you go ahead and go back to your seat. We're going to catch the next five here in a few minutes, but we're going to move on now to our sophomores who have earned and maintained a cumulative GPA of 3.67. You guys should know the drill. It's your second year here. So head on over, A through M, N through Z outside, line up in alphabetical order. Presenting tonight to our sophomores, our board members Tim Yoder and Jennifer Davis. How can you not love these students? They're just amazing young folks, and they just do some incredible things. It's been amazing working with them this year, getting to know them, each and every one. Okay, so once again, most of these students have already been up here before, and so if they have, they had already received, part of the things that they'll receive. But tonight, if they haven't already earned their letter, then they will get their letter tonight. But for those that have, they'll get their chevron, another chevron, and they'll get a certificate. So if you already earned your letter by doing this last year, then this year you get another chevron and moving on from there that you can put on your Letterman jacket. Without further ado, once again, you'll come across after you're named, and Spencer, you'll go all the way over to the right there and line up. I don't think there's quite as many in the sophomore class. It's the smallest class we have in the school, which isn't saying much. It's around 400, but still quite a few. So here we go. First up, Spencer Arnold. Alexis Arroyo. Tatum Axel. Isaac Baltasar. Tyler Binkley. Jade Brooks. Genevieve Carreno. Aldo Cervantes. Did I get that right? Alexandra Chacon. Samuel Chittister. Lara Clausen. Courtney Craig. Madison Kreider. Tamara Cunningham. Evan Davis. Maria Delgado Taboada. Jameson Dibble. Jane Doan. Emily Dollinger. Eduardo Duran. Jacob Eakins. Benjamin Eichelberger. Brooke Farnham. Haley Gallant. Erzebeth Gallegos. Joshua Garcia. Nova General. Megan Gotzik. Matthew Grable. Elizabeth Herr Nipsel. Aaron Hochstetler. Sarah Joy. Stephanie Camiotis. Caseda Kip. Tyler Clace. Brock Kachelko. Teresa Litzen. Asia Madayag. Atziri Malagon. Andres Mejia. Brooklyn Messenger. McKenna Miller. Andres Nogales. Rafael Nungaray. Leandro Ortiz. Alexis Ott. Katie Papa. Krista Parsons. Patrick Peterson. Christian Pfeiffer Laguerre. Alyssa File. Marisela Ramirez. Angela Reinert. Caleb Ripaich. Eric Reyes. Alana Rice. Rachel Rowe. Stephanie Rowe. There are twinners too. Danpreet Sangha. Aisha Saoko. Caitlin Schoenborn. Sydney Simon. Drew Smeltzer. Stephanie Sotelo. Paxton Sterrett. Logan Sunday. Brandon B.T. Thompson. Adam Thurston. Madison Treble. Jackson Trowbridge. Lakaira Wagner. Lindsay Williamson. Magdalene Wilson. Brandon Wise. Noah Wright. Audrey Wurtzbaugh. Liliana Zezer. And Edna Zhang. Ladies and gentlemen, your sophomores. Okay, if our next group of most improved seniors, Brandon Ruiz, Eli Schroeder, Citlali Sierra Serrano, Caleb Smith, and Allison Wysong, if you would please make your way to the stage, to the chairs off to my left. Presenting these awards are board member Randy Myers. Once again, as they're coming up, these are 5 of the 10 students who have the very most improved GPAs from beginning of their freshman year to now in their senior year. This is quite an accomplishment, and we're very proud to have these students here and recognized. They will come here, they'll receive, once I name them, they'll receive their plaque and the plaque for their teacher. They will come up here and recognize their teacher and present the plaque to their teacher. And once again, a few students will remain until we're over at the end so we can get pictures of all of you. And that goes for the teachers as well, so don't sneak off. All right? So, first up, Brandon Ruiz.
I would like to thank and recognize you for all the encouragement you gave me during my high school career. She has helped me a lot with my schoolwork. She has always been there for me and is always willing to listen to me when I have a problem. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am right now and ready to graduate. She's the best teacher ever. I've appreciated all that she's done for me. Thank you, Mrs. McEwen, for everything you've done.
Thank you, Brandon and Ms. McEwen. Eli Schroeder. Well, I could talk about this teacher because she's been most inspirational in my life while I've been here the last 2 years as well. She is just a phenomenal teacher, and she goes above and beyond in every aspect of what she does. She's a part of our freshman academy. And so she gets these students in the beginning of their freshman year, and she really works with these kids. And the last 2 years, we've even added a program where we're helping students who have been struggling with taking these standardized tests and sending some of the seniors to her. And she's just really helped turn them around. And she's got tough love and compassion and empathy. She's just an amazing teacher. And so on behalf of Eli, I'd like to present this to Mrs. Becca Roberts. Told her I like chocolate chip cookies, just in case. Next up, Citlali Sierra Serrano.
Tonight, I would like to thank a very special person who has impacted my life significantly. She is one of the most patient and understanding teachers I've ever met in my 4 years of high school. I appreciate the many times where she was able to be patient with me. I loved how easy I could open up to her and she would know exactly what to say. I could go on all night about the many times where she was there to support and encourage me, but I would like to end and emphasize how blessed I am to have met such an amazing teacher. Thank you, Senora Dixon.
Órale, señora. Next up, Caleb Smith.
How's everybody doing, my friends? I would personally like to thank the teachers and the committee that has given me the honor of the Academic Achievement Award. I like playing sports. This has been a team effort. I would like to nominate the teacher that has had the most influence in my academic career. The teacher I would like to give the honor to is, you'll find out later. At a time that I struggle academically, this teacher went above and beyond what is required by a teacher. She always took the time to work and give me the time that I need. When I didn't believe in myself, the teacher wouldn't let me fail or give up. She spent her summers tutoring me and making sure I prepare for the next grade. So for this, I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to Mrs. Franks, because I would not be here today without her.
And Caleb, you look good dressed up like that. I think, as you're serving in the office as one of our aides, I think you ought to dress like that every day. You look good, man. Classy. And next up, Allison Wysong.
Thank you. There are many people who helped me those past 4 years. The teacher helped me a lot. He was helpful, understanding, kind, and good teacher. Thank you, Mr. Banquet, for all your help, all that you have done for me.
Thanks, Allison and Mr. Bontrager. Allison is an incredible, amazing young lady. I go by her. She's so familiar with what I do every day that she sits at lunch and she's eating lunch and she's paying attention to her eating lunch and listening to her music. And I don't know, somehow she knows I'm walking and she just holds her fist out because she knows I'm going to fist bump her. And sometimes she doesn't even look up at me. She just, so I love it. Thank you, Allison. So thank you, Brandon, Eli, Sitlali, Caleb, and Allison, and all of the teachers. You may now go back and be seated. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Myers. We'll now move on to recognizing our juniors, once again, who have maintained the 3.67. Again, if it's their first time, they'll receive their letter. If they've already received their letter, they'll get another chevron and a certificate. Presenting to our juniors tonight, our board members, Kathy Thomasby and Cammie Waite. Juniors, if you will go ahead and line up, A through M and through Z. Notice how quietly they do this. By the way, these guys are part of the largest class in the history of Concord High School. When they started here 3 years ago, they were like 464. I think they're sitting at about 449 right now. Large class. Lots of great kids. Tyler chose the wrong way around, huh? Give him just another moment here to line up. Okay, let's go with our juniors. Ricardo Aguilar, Tyler Anderson, Courtney Barr, Angela Boyce, Freddie Buckingham, Sean Butler, Maria Campos, Caitlin Cass, when we start getting into these older classes, a lot of these students have jobs and they're working. Tyler Castillo, Sonia Chacon, Claire Collins, Michaela Combs, go Claire Bear, this student doesn't look like he's here, but this next student is actually graduating. He's a junior, but he's accomplished and fulfilled all the requirements to graduate from high school this year. Jacob Cora. Next, Christina Davila, Jillian Dawson, Rosa de Santos Aguilar, Grace Deaton, Elise Doctor, Melissa Duran. Hey, doctor. Dylan Ferguson. Callahan Finley. Isaac Fisher. Adriana Garcia, Andrea Garcia, Aaron Greising, Janea Hentz, Simone Iavanilio. Like I said, a lot of these students all have part-time jobs and work in the evening. Emily Jones. Madison Kelly. Alexis Kern. You don't have ice on your shoulder. Roland Kinsman. Nicholas Klein. Reagan Landis. She's been learning how to play tennis in the rain. Ariana Lopez. Miguel Lopez. Grant Lucas. Alyssa Marson. Nicholas Mark. Mario Mejia. Haley Miller. Caden Miller. Michaela Miller. Kelsey Odell. Riley Olmstead. Hope Pankoki. Josh Peacock. Fernando Pedrosa. Brittany Poblano Parra. Christopher Pollock. Alexa Porter. Brooke Powell. Jessica Raso. Genesis Reyes. Sydney Rice. Mark Rich. Catherine Riffle. Emily Ross. Zoe Rupp. Andrea Santillan. Alec Scheiman. Alexander Serwatka. Desiree Shepard. Luke Shoemaker. Nathan Slabaugh. Krista Smith. Oscar Solano. Audrey Staggs. Lucas Stout. Keegan Thursby. Olivia Trout. Tad Turner. Nicolette Valhalla. Diana Valenzuela Sonora. Caitlin Veely. Caitlin Waite. Caleb Whitaker. Blake Williams. And this next person will be graduating as a junior with the senior class this year, has accomplished and fulfilled all the credits and requirements to graduate from our high school, Claire Williams. And also, she wasn't here, I just named her a short while ago, but Deanna Valenzuela Sonora also will be graduating with the class of 2018 out of this junior class. So 3 students who fulfill all those requirements. It's quite the accomplishment. But these students here, and the majority of these students have been up here 3 years in a row. Just an amazing accomplishment to maintain this GPA. They're taking some of the hardest classes in northern Indiana with the toughest rigor, so we're just proud and honored. And most of these kids also raised their hands that they're participating in other outside extracurricular and co-curricular activities. And I didn't ask how many of them worked, but a lot of these kids all have jobs as well. So quite a phenomenal accomplishment. Thank you, junior class. All right, you may be seated. Thank you. And notice how they followed everything without the directions. They were awesome. Okay, now before we move on to our seniors, we're going to begin recognizing our top 10 seniors. These are the top 10 seniors out of this class of just about 400 students. They have the top 10 highest GPAs, many of which are higher than a 4.0, and they've taken by far, hands down, the toughest classes that we offer here. And I think without exception, every single one of them is involved in at least one extracurricular activity. The majority of them are in multiple extracurricular and co-curricular activities. So we're going to have, and we actually have 11 of them because we actually have a tie. So we had a tie and we made the decision that sort of like how they do in golf, and so we're going to recognize 11 this year because of that tie. And we're going to have our first 6 come up and join us on the stage. Rachel Deshone, Bradley Dwiggins, Stephen Fields, Jana Fisher, Joshua Four, and Demetrius Camiotis. And as they come forward, we want to thank the Concord Rotary who have provided these plaques for us. And we have Miss Jamie Stam from the Rotary who is here, and she will make these presentations. We're grateful to them for their generous donation and all of their contributions that they have to the school, and they help with scholarships, and they do some tremendous things for our school, and she's a leader among leaders, and she does a lot for us in different committees, and so we're grateful to her to be here tonight to help present. So once again, students, as I call your name, you'll come forward, you'll receive the plaque for yourself and for your teacher, you'll come up and present your teacher, okay, and the parents of these students, if you wish, as they get their name called, you may stand and be recognized as well. Okay, Rachel Deshone.
So there are 180 days of school. For the first couple of weeks, school isn't so bad. You get to see your friends, you get new classes, new clothes. But after a few weeks, you're like, okay, only 160 days until summer vacation. Those 180 days we spend at school can feel like an eternity of PowerPoint, lectures, and hours of homework on repeat. The monotonous routine of Monday through Friday school life can quickly become unappealing. Hopefully, every student has that one class that invigorates and excites their curiosity for learning and makes attending school for those 180 days more bearable. The teacher I have chosen to recognize tonight managed for 180 days to make class engaging and enjoyable. He brought history alive inside his four-walled classroom, from historic press conferences to a roaring 20s and 1950s dance parties to having a karaoke of the main causes of World War I. Even on the days we took notes, this teacher's unpredictable mannerisms, facial expressions, and outbursts always kept us on our toes and awake, which is sometimes hard to do in a history class. For example, once when he was reprimanding our class, he non-violently threw his phone in frustration. However, once we realized he threw his flip phone, all seriousness was lost. Like, okay, it's 2016. Just because you teach history doesn't mean you have to keep historical artifacts in your back pocket, too. This teacher knew how to establish a connection with each student while holding them accountable. I've never had a teacher who paid attention to my perfectionist personality as much as he has. This was evident when I went up to his desk to inquire about our final project at the end of the first trimester. I came loaded with multiple questions over the details of our scrapbook, such as, should this be in first person or in third person? After the first two questions, he abruptly says, Rachel, you're overthinking it. And even though I still had like 3 more questions, I just went and sat down. But that's when I knew that he just really got me. What makes this teacher so special is the time he takes from his day to do little gestures that may go unacknowledged. From spending his free time planning our parties, to sending out personalized remind text of encouragement before the AP exam, or handwritten notes to express his gratitude and pride in us at the end of the year. This teacher went above and beyond to make every student feel appreciated. I remember sitting in his class my sophomore year thinking to myself that I had to stay in the top 10 for the next 2 years so I could recognize him on this stage tonight, to thank him for the extra initiative he takes to create a positive learning environment. He would always take the time to get to know each and every one of his students. Even after I was done with his class, I knew I could always walk into his room and be greeted with open arms and a sarcastic remark. Thank you for making those 180 days of my sophomore year exciting and bearable. I will forever remember the memories and laughs shared in room 708. Your class will always be my favorite class, and the only class I've ever stayed up until 2 in the morning to finish homework, but still my favorite. This 3-minute speech doesn't do justice on the type of teacher you are or the impact you have made on not only my life, but the lives of all of your students. With that said, this goes to the teacher who left me with all those historic memories and new comebacks to sarcastic remarks. He is the man, the myth, the red fox, Mr. Krause.
Even I've stayed awake in his class a couple of times, so. And did you want to tell him about that time I beat you in Jeopardy that one time? Okay, all right. Next up, Bradley Dwiggins.
So I want to start off by saying thank you for all the teachers, parents, and staff that came out tonight. Most of us here owe a lot of our success to our parents, so shout out to you guys. But tonight I'm here to honor a teacher I had in the past that inspired me to work towards my goal every single day. To this day, I've never met a man so passionate about beating up his smartboard. Sorry, I mean teaching his students. But seriously, most of us are shocked that that thing still works. Anyway, this teacher has really inspired me like no other. From his oddly funny jokes to his monotone voice, he's always made me look forward to going to his class. Even though he acts tough on the outside, you can tell that how passionate he is about helping his students and teaching them. And trust me, we're not the easiest to work with sometimes. If you know me, you probably know that I have pretty small handwriting. I remember after the first test I ever took in his class, he asked me if I could write a little bigger for him. So on the next test, I obliged, and I drew a graph about a quarter of the page that took up about a quarter of the page when he gave us these little small graphs to use, so I hope that was big enough for you to read. But I only did that because I knew he was the type of teacher that could take a joke and roll with the punches, and oftentimes make a joke back at your expense. Somehow he managed to take away all the stress I'd have going into his class and put a smile on my face. He's truly inspiring, and this is why I'm proud to have the privilege of honoring you tonight, Mr. Schaefer. You deserve it.
Talk about an amazing teacher. He retires and he still comes back. He can't get enough of us. Next up, Stephen Fields.
So if my first line sounds a little familiar, I just want to say that Brad has good taste in intros. I wanted to start by expressing my gratitude to everyone who came out to marvel at all these bright, hardworking individuals and rejoice in their accomplishments. Concord really is a great place, but it's not just about the students. There have been so many teachers who have had a lasting impact and educated me on not just math or science or English, but life in general. The good ones will see your success on a test and have high hopes for you to excel on the final, but it doesn't go much further than that. The great ones will see through the surface of points and percentages into a student's character and have high hopes for their future. They value your talents and contributions beyond the classroom. A great teacher doesn't treat you simply as a standardized test metric used to evaluate their performance. No, they recognize that you are part of what will become our future and treat you as such. The teachers here at Concord have inspired me, so much so that I've set out to become one myself. One teacher in particular, who I've known since sophomore year, told my class about his own career decision. He said one day he was sitting in a college lecture for his chemistry major when he just had one of those light bulb moments you only see in cartoons. He realized that was his calling, that's what he was supposed to do, and he did it. I really identified with what he had said, for I shared a similar experience a few years ago. Luckily, I figured it all out before college, so I don't have to go through the hassle of switching and adding courses that cost more than a used car. Things are different when you go through most of high school knowing you want to become a teacher. You don't go to class just to learn about the subject material for the day like the rest of your peers. Well, most of them. Instead, you go for two things: to grasp the concept and observe their methods. I pay almost as much attention to how a teacher teaches as I do what they teach, and have developed a pretty good sense of what it takes to captivate an audience. This teacher I'm nominating definitely has it, and by it I mean he has a strong passion for teaching that's shown every day in the classroom with his attentiveness to student questions and witty jokes that make learning universe-defining equations fun. I know he's passionate because he didn't just land in this profession by chance, he turned an epiphany into a reality. No one told him he would become rich or live lavishly. No one told him teaching would make him famous. So what's the incentive? What's the reason someone chooses this profession? Well, I believe it's more abstract than that, something that can't be quantified. One thing I enjoy, and I think this teacher would agree, is seeing the light bulb go off in a student's head and the face of understanding spread into a smile as they unlocked a concept previously foreign. As a student and future educator, I feel there is nothing more powerful and rewarding than having a greater understanding of our universe and its intricacies. That is enough for me. I'd now like to recognize the man behind the mask and invite him to accept this award, knowing that he's impacted my life and education and will continue to do so through me as I try to implement his successes into my own pedagogy. I am forever thankful to have had a mentor through high school as awesome as you, Mr. Schlegel.
Thank you, Stephen and Mr. Schlegel. Next up, Jana Fisher.
When I walked into your class junior year, I was a student unsure about where I was headed. As top 10 students, we're expected to know our whole life plan, from what homework we have that night to where we're going to college. Although ambitious, I was missing that focal point that everyone else seemed to have in mind. At the end of your class that first day, I was still unsure. You didn't sugarcoat anything, warning us of the time commitment and difficulty associated with the class, adding that procrastination, one of my best skills, would not get us anywhere. You scared some people off, but I'm so glad I stayed because who knows, I might be deciding to major in English right now, which would not be wise because it took way too long to finish this speech. What I admire about you most is not only your passion for what you teach, but for each one of your students. Every time I needed something, you were there for me, going above what you get paid for. When I needed a letter of recommendation, you personalized it so I would have my best chance of getting into my top choice school. When I needed materials for a scholarship, you lended me everything I needed and even let me wear your lab coat. All this happened over summer when no teacher wants to even think about school. Your class was my favorite, and even though I'm already known as a nerd, I'd like to say that I was always excited to learn more about what you had to teach. Your class was a turning point in my high school career. It's what motivated me to apply to nationally ranked universities. You went beyond the AP curriculum by including projects that required critical thinking and teamwork, refusing to simply give us the answers even when we were ready to give up. But you knew we'd figure it out because you have confidence in your students' abilities. You always encourage us to think creatively and collectively to solve a problem. That's why I would like to thank Dr. Dan.
Thank you, Jenna and Dr. Daniel. Next up, Joshua 4.
As I unfold my speech, I'd like to make a quick shout out to my mom. She wasn't available to be here today because she's going through a round of chemotherapy today. So thank you, Mom. I love you. You've helped me out a lot. So it's a little weird being up here on stage with all these eyes staring back at me. For the past 4 years, my passion at Concord High School has been Tech Club. Tech Club is this awesome group of people that builds sets and runs the lights, sound, and video for all the shows here at the BPAC, as well as maintaining the facility. We stay, or at least try to stay, in the shadows. There's been a couple incidents where that really hasn't held true, but we try our best. We aren't in the spotlight. I've done some fun stuff here. I've crawled over every single inch of the BPAC. I've been in the ceiling, in the catwalks, in the pit, you name it, I've been there. I've met some cool people too. I've met my best friends on earth here in the BPAC. We've laughed, done some dumb stuff, and might have gotten in trouble, but it was all worth it. I've even played music in here so loud that the floor rumbles under your feet. That's because I'm the sound guy. For the past 4 years, I've had the opportunity to sit in the booth right back there and run sound for almost every single show. Today's a little different. The microphone is right here, I'm standing here, and the sound console is all the way up there. So if I'm on stage, who set up everything? The answer to that question is simple. It's the person who I've had the honor to have as my mentor for the past 4 years. He really doesn't get enough recognition. There's no Tech Club trophy. There's no championship. This is his time to be on the stage for once, and it's time we recognize him. He's taught me the value of growth and improvement. Each and every single day, he works harder than anyone I know to do his job the right way, never taking the quick and easy route. I've learned that hard work is rewarding and joyful, no matter what it is. Success is no accident. There's a reason that every single production here at Concord is of such a professional quality that all the other schools are green with envy. And it's all because of that one man. It just wouldn't be the same without him. And I wouldn't be the same if I hadn't met him. For 4 years, I've had the honor of his wisdom and work ethic being shared with me. 4 years ago, I came to Concord from being in private school and from being homeschooled. I knew 1 or 2 people in this entire school, and I had no place, no group, no clique. I saw his kind actions, his level-headedness with uncontrollable circumstances, his kindness with, let's be honest, emotional teenagers. His work ethic that stretches past when others would have given up. He has shown me what the kind of person is that I want to be. He helped me grow to be the confident individual who can stand before you today. I was student aide with him for the past 2 trimesters, and spending that extra day with him, working with him, has shown me the passion he has for his job. We would sometimes burn up the hour working and talking about different types of equipment, weighing the pros and cons. Sometimes we would just get sweaty and mad and angry and just want to give up. But that's life. You need to ride the waves of work and stress to get those sweet moments of just utter joyfulness when you're walking on top of the world. Scott Preheim, thank you for being the type of role model that other people strive to be their entire lives. I'll see you tomorrow from 3 to 4:30 for another round of Tech Club. I'm looking forward to it.
What a well-deserved tribute. You look pretty good dressed like that. I'm so used to seeing you in your black t-shirt and your black Levi's because, you know, stage people are supposed to not be seen. So I was wondering, he's all dressed up tonight, so it looks good. Thanks, Josh. Next up, Demetrius Kamiotis.
All right. So when deciding to choose who to choose for this speech, not much thought was given at all. I instantly knew who I was going to select for this special occasion. Because unlike many who have given similar top 10 speeches, I've known my teacher for longer than the 4 years I've spent here at Concord High. I've known my teacher for 17 years. And yeah, that's also exactly how old I am. She has been around me my entire life, and that made it hard for me to narrow down specifics as to how she's influenced me, not only as a student, but also as a person. Although she has had me in class, she is much more to me than a teacher. She is family. Our bond is so close that the first trimester I had her as a teacher, I really didn't know what to call her. I couldn't use her first name because we were at school, but it also felt awkward calling her anything else. So I decided not to call her anything. I would just raise my hand and kind of motion her over like, come on, teacher, help me out. So during school hours, I would avoid all versions of her name, like nothing, just teacher. But after school, it was a completely different story. She was still the same friend I've always known her as, and thankfully, that meant that she would text me all the test questions and answers before the day before. And as much as I appreciated the help, I thought it mocked my intelligence, and I would ignore the messages unless I forgot to study the day before. He's like, Mr. D, I'm joking, so don't fire her. But now taking her class for a second year, I just refer to her by her name, and it's much more casual, and during office days, I interrupt her class to say hi, but I don't think she minds. Shifting to a more serious note, she has done more for me than I could have ever asked. Whatever problems I've had, she's been there to help, school or personal. Earlier in my life, the focus had always been school, but now as I've grown older, our conversations have shifted to all facets of life. Her advice has always been immensely helpful, and I am thankful to her. At times, I feel like I've asked for too much, too often, but she's always helped me. And while being a mother of 3, she's given countless hours helping out 2 more, my sister and me. The time she's invested goes way farther than the time she spent helping us too. It also includes how far she's traveled. There's been several times where we've texted her on vacation and we've forced her to come as quick as possible to help us out. Sometimes when she was in Chicago, she would turn right around as soon as she got the message and stop by our house before even saying hi to her kids or her husband. And without her sacrifices, I definitely would not be here. She was such a key part in helping me skip a grade and also helping me stay in the top 10, because without her, I doubt I would have even been a senior right now or in the top 10. She has prepared me for a great future, and I could not be more thankful for it. So it is my honor to recognize my great friend, Megan Stuck, for everything she has done.
Thank you, Demetrius and Mrs. Stock. Once again, you guys may be seated, but do not leave. Teachers, do not leave. We'll take pictures after. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next portion of our program. We're getting closer, folks. We're getting closer. How can you complain when you have this many kids doing awesome things, though, right? So we're now going to have our seniors, all of them who are going to be recognized tonight for maintaining a cumulative GPA of 3.67, A through M, and through Z. If you guys will quietly line up. Presenting these awards tonight to these seniors are our board members Jennifer Davis and Tim Yoder. Once again, if it's their first time, they will receive a letter. If they've already received their letter, they'll get another chevron for their jacket, as well as their certificate, and they will also receive a gold cord, the gold honor cord that you see up here, that they will be able to wear at graduation. Okay, I think we're close enough that we can go ahead and begin. Our first senior, Sarah Al-Hasnawi. Ashley Arroyo. David Arvidsson. Matthew Osier. Daniela Besanoff. Nicholas Binkley. Elise Bossler. Samuel Bogus. Will Boyer. Janet Cabrera. Lauren Elsie Craig. Ella Cunningham. Reese Curtis. Matthew Davidson. Dawson Demeen. Rachel Deshone. Jonathan Diaz. Bradley Dwiggins. Stephen Fields. Selene Fino. Mason Fish. Jana Fisher. Joshua Four. Andrew Fox. Jarrett Gaff. Nolani Garcia. Alexander Gearhart. Eileen Gonzalez. Matthew Granitz. Jessica Gutierrez. Jamie Hawley. Allison Henderson. Ashley Harrington. Carissa Lachota. Tamaya Houston. Sage Iavanilio. Demetrius Camiotis. Emily Kennedy. Jeanette Kidder. Grace Kindy. Maya Kloppenstein. You're good right here. Jared Kahn. Carson Kronemeyer. Morgan Lane. Madison Lance. Veronica Liddy. Jonathan Jack Litzen. Samuel Lauer. Camille Lozier. Evan McDowell. Alexa McNeely. Diana Miller, little d. Nicole Parsons. Isis Puentes. Eliud Ramirez. Nicole Ramirez. Garrett Roberts. Caitlin Rell. Andrew Ross. You guys go shoulder to shoulder line. Brenda Salas. Christian Saleh. Adrian Schwartz. Sorry, I missed Anna Ross. Having a hard time seeing over this big guy right here. He's one of our big men, track. So Adrian Schwartz, Susanna Segovia, Hannah Shank, Kevin Seibel, Regan Stoffer, Kennedy Sullivan, Riley Treble, Shayla Valencia, Matt Wietzok, Bethany Willett, Elizabeth Wise, James Wurzbaugh, Jacob Yoder, Caitlin Caesar, Ainsley Zhu. Ladies and gentlemen, the senior class, the majority of these kids have been up here for 4 straight years, 3.67 or higher. Without almost any exception, every single one of them is involved in not just one extra or co-curricular, but multiple. These are the busiest and the best and the brightest and the funnest students. Great class, a class of 2018. Definitely taking a 212. All right, you may be seated. Thank you. And 5 of you, you can just hang over this way. So Morgan Lane, Regan Stauffer, Matt Wietzok, Caitlin Caesar, and Ainsley Zhu, if you'll just head off over to your chairs here to save you from going back down and coming back up. So we're now going to be recognizing the other 5 of our top 11 academic seniors. Once again, Concord Rotary has purchased these plaques, and Mrs. Jamie Stam will be here to make those presentations. Okay, we've got all 5 of them up here now. So first up, be receiving his honor and recognizing his teacher of choice, Morgan Lane.
Show yourself in all respects to be a model of good works, and in your teaching, show integrity and dignity. Titus 2:7. Reaching top 10 has been an aspiration of mine since day one of freshman year. I worked my hardest in all my classes up to this point. At the beginning of this year, I was so close, but I faced a challenge. I chose a course that seemed would help me in my future that applied to what I'm going to do as a profession, but I had a rude awakening. I couldn't approach this class like my other classes. After the first test, I was extremely worried this class would prevent me from reaching top 10. So I stayed after one day. I talked to this teacher just to let him know how important this was to me and asked if they had any advice when approaching this class. The teacher was very kind and told me exactly what I needed to hear, and it helped me get through the class with flying colors. Through the duration of this class, I grew more and more comfortable with the classmates and the teacher. This provided the optimum environment to ask questions and openly express opinions without worry. And that's something special that isn't developed in a lot of classes. This teacher became a role model for me in academics and character. He treated every question like it was one of the best questions he has ever heard, leaving no one with a feeling of stupidity or inferiority, even though there were plenty of dumb questions asked mostly from me. He pushed everyone to do their best, and when he knew something was up, he would ask. He cared for us as students and people. He treated everyone with respect, even when there were plenty of opportunities they could have shown at least the slightest bit of anger or irritability. He helped anyone who needed it, and that inspired me to reach out more and to serve others. I never thought I would find myself looking so forward to an AP class every single day. It was like a break from the rest of the classes during the school day despite the workload. Part of becoming so comfortable with the teacher/classroom is the development of plenty of inside jokes, ranging from cows and bulls to strong winds to up dog jokes more times than I can count. Also, there were plenty of roast sessions and memorable moments, such as the time this teacher almost fainted in class, or when he felt personally offended when the class declared the rise of the icebox. I'm glad that I had the privilege of taking this class. I came out on the other side with a new sense of confidence and initiative. I'm so grateful and blessed for the opportunities I have at Concord to be able to take rigorous courses such as this teacher's class and to do so in a comfortable environment. Today, I want to express my gratitude to the person who believed in me from the get-go and never ceased to push me to do my best. The only man I know who can rock a lab equipment tie, my AP chemistry teacher, Mr. Cook.
Thank you, Morgan and Mr. Cook. Next up, Regan Stauffer.
The teacher that I am honoring tonight, I have only had this past trimester, but in the short time that I have had her, she has positively impacted my life. She has opened my eyes to the world outside my own little one, which has allowed me to see all the people in need. She has caused me to want to make a difference in the life of others. I remember the first day I walked into her class, she welcomed us by saying that we were going to change the world. I started wondering, and even worrying a little, what class I signed up for. It was the end of my senior year, and I just wanted to make it through the rest of the year without having to do anything too crazy. As the trimester continued on, we had many guest speakers come in and talk to our class about all sorts of topics like suicide, addictions, human trafficking, and more. The fact these speakers shared left me in awe and caused me to realize there are people out in the world with bigger problems than my own. This teacher and the experiences that I've had in her class made me realize no matter what I end up doing in my life, I want to make it a priority to help others. The most important lesson that this teacher has taught me is that to change the world does not require you to change the entire world. It can be as simple as just changing one person's world. So Mrs. Allen, thank you for changing my world.
Thank you, Regan and Mrs. Allen. Next, Matt Wheatsock.
First off, I want to start my speech tonight by saying thank you to all of the members of the community who helped all of these bright students in front of you. Parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, various leaders for youth organizations. I also want to thank all the various teachers at the high school. We can't choose every single one of you, but I know that somewhere out there there's a student that would choose you for this award in a heartbeat. If you know me, you know that I'm a competitive person, primarily with my sister. If she got a 3 on an AP exam, I wanted to get a 4. If she got an A in a class, I wanted to get an A+. So when she was standing up here exactly 3 years ago, I knew that I was going to be up here as well one day. Now, here I am, giving some stuffy speech about the teacher that truly influenced my life the most. Please take notes, there will be a quiz at the end. The teacher I chose is one that I've known for a very long time. They are always there to help me out with problems that I have with my work or with any issue that I'm having in my life. The reason they did this is because of a quote that they would always say in class. I am not teaching music. I am teaching through music. On the first day of any class they would teach, they would always teach all of the students how to properly shake hands. They actually care about the students that walk through their class. It's easy enough for someone to look at a work and say, that's good, you've done enough. It's easy enough to let someone go without doing it all. But they never did. This teacher made them do it, and they made them do it right. They also helped to feed my curiosity. I'm a question asker. I will ask hundreds of questions in a week in my classes, probably to the point where I annoy my classmates, whether or not it's related to the topic. But my teacher didn't try to stop my curiosity and my creativity. Rather, they helped me channel it to make myself better. I'm proud to say that with the help of my teacher, I've been accepted to my first choice university's music composition studio. And this is only because they spend hours proofreading the near 100 pages of score that I sent them, noticing the tiniest little detail on the 47th page and making sure that all of the work was done. They wanted to encourage me, and they have. Back to my sister again real quickly. I've spent most of my high school career trying to differentiate myself from her for the better. But I find it odd now that here I am, standing on stage and choosing the same teacher that she chose 3 years ago. I'm proud to present this award to Mr. Peterson tonight as proof of what a good teacher, or better yet, what a good person he is. But beyond that, he's helped me realize where my true passions lie.
All right, Mr. Peterson, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Little plug for the Jazz Cafe coming up. Thanks, Matt. Next up, Caitlin Zeezer.
So I picked a person we rarely see in the spotlight, but I'm sure nearly everyone in this room has actually read her writing because she was the one who wrote the invitation letter for this very banquet. She does so much, but requires so little. In fact, she even hates being thanked, remarking as I sat in her office one day that she detests thank you notes and emails, mostly because as secretary to the principal, she finds them sitting in her inbox at least 50 times a day. So I guess it's time for me to issue an apology because tonight I'm going to read a thank you letter with her name on it. Dear Mrs. Bone, I'm sorry for 2 reasons. Number 1, I am writing something you loathe for no other reason than the fact that you loathe it. Number 2, I fully intend to make you cry, and I just might find myself crying too. Here I go. When I started my senior year, I was not doing so hot. I found myself in a world where everything felt out of my control. I had to deal with the SAT, enough said. And with 4 AP classes and applying to college all on my plate at once, I was like a mediocre essay factory. During lunch, I came into your office every single day asking myself the question, why am I doing what I'm doing? But I always walked out feeling resolved and strong in my stance, even if I or you didn't have the right answers. I came to you for everything I needed, and you happily obliged. It took me months to truly understand that you were actually one of the busiest people on the planet. And the 30 minutes you spent on me during the morning or at lunch was 30 minutes you could have been focusing on a multitude of other tasks. And here's the kicker. I'm not the only student who comes to you for help. Your genuine compassion and caring, whether a student council sponsor or just as a mentor, has helped countless students beyond just me. You and I could be stressed together, celebrate together, and just talk through life together. You have inspired me to be someone who is selfless and intentional with every word and action. Your careful speech and gentleness as a friend, coworker, sponsor, and wife have inspired me to do my best to be wise in everything. One of your favorite people, Simon Sinek, once said, if you want to be happy, do something for yourself. If you want to feel fulfilled, do something for someone else.
I truly hope you are fulfilled by what you do, even if you don't like the thank yous or any big appreciative gesture. You were chosen by me because you are loved by many and you love so well. I know fully what it means to love others as I head off into the world solely because of you. So as I finish up my thank you letter to you, I want you to know that no matter how far I go, I'll always remember that awful picture of me you took for the newspaper. I promise, it was really bad. Thank you for taking the time to be my friend and listening to me in times I felt as though no one could understand how lost I felt. But most of all, thank you for giving me lots of free food over the years. Yours truly, Caitlin.
Well deserved. If everyone truly knew the impact that she has on this high school and on the students and the staff, she's the glue that holds this place together, truly. Ainsley Zoo.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you to my family because without them, I wouldn't be standing up here today. Dear teacher, a simple thank you is not enough. In the short time I've known you, you have taught me so much. You have taught me wonder, that wonderful things can be seen in everything we encounter each day. You have taught me compassion. In all of your lessons, you find ways to teach your students new parables about how to live life enlightened. You have taught me that the simplest way to make the most out of life is to connect with people, and the easiest way to connect with people is just to approach. Approach with an open mind, an open heart. If every one of your students had a teacher to pick and a speech to write, they would pick you. Not because you have a funny script or a generalized template for how you teach your students, but because you want to form bonds. You have taught me that no matter who I interact with, I can always, always, always learn something. You make room in your heart for everyone you meet before you even meet them, and you take your relationships very seriously, diligently tending to them like the most important garden in the universe. You have taught me that no matter who I meet, I have enough room in my heart for them. You cherish your craft because it connects you to amazing humans every day, and trust me, we are so thankful for you. Dear mentor, you have shown me confidence. You have shown me that in whatever I'm doing, I can be proud, not because of what I'm doing, but because of who I am. When a person lives their life fulfilled with love for themselves, they can approach others with love more easily without draining themselves. You have shown me passion, that in order to live life to its fullest, new foreign tasks should be approached with genuine enthusiasm and unfettered fervor. In every experience, unmissable lessons lie, and truly amazing experiences are not worth passing up. Most importantly, you have shown love. You remind your students every day how much you love them, not by saying, "I love you," but by asking, "Is there anything you want to talk about? You don't seem like yourself." Here, let me help you. Or my personal favorite, I know there's nothing you or I could do, but let me give you a hug. You love your students with a love so deep and unconditional and unfettered that it's truly humbling. I cannot describe how refreshing it feels to have someone show so much love in a world so full of a tendency to hate. Through this, I've learned that I, along with the rest of humanity, have the capacity to embody pure love. Dear friend, thank you. Thank you for showing compassion. Thank you for teaching respect. Thank you for showing dedication, admiration, faith, wonder, patience, courage, forgiveness, grace, humility, and love. Thank you for showing your students, your family, your coworkers, me, us, not only that we are loved, but how to love. I know today's not Friday, but this is my love letter to you. There will never be enough ways to thank you, Mrs. Green. This is just the start.
Thank you, Caitlin, and thank you, Mrs. Green. And thank you to these 5 top seniors. You can, well, if you want to just stay there, you can, because we're going to do pictures here in just a minute. Parents, could we please have you stand, all the parents in this room, because these kids wouldn't be where they're at or what they're doing without you. Students, it's time to honor your parents. Once again, parents, thank you. I want to continue, I guess, on just a little bit, steal Josh's thunder. Mr. Preheim, the man in the box up here, he doesn't get a lot of tribute for the things that he does, but if you look at this facility, you think about, you know, in some respects it's new, but it's not really new, and look at how new it appears and how well taken care of it is, and how each of the sets and all of the different things that occur through all of the amazing productions and programs that go on. And he's the man, the brains, the technician, the fixer of all things. When Josh talked about the hours that he puts in, like, he's not kidding. You could ask his wife, Mrs. Preheim. She gets to see him for a couple of weeks in the summer on the boat, and that's about it. And sometimes they do get to eat lunch together. But he just puts in a ton of time, and we celebrate and we honor you for this magnificent facility. And with that being said, we need to once again give tribute to our board of trustees, because it's them that help to balance the budgets and find the dollars and the cents and the pennies that it needs to keep a facility just like this and to keep all the programs that are going. So thank you, board members, for all that you do. We want to thank all of you for being here tonight. 2 hours and 2 minutes, not too bad. We just appreciate all of you. And my phone hasn't gone off with lightning or thunder, so I think we're doing okay outside. Remember, the teachers that are being recognized, the top 10 most improved, the top 10 students, if you'll please all come to the stage that we can get pictures. And with that, we bid you adieu. Thank you very much.